Hello. This video is for IXL 7.C.8. It is titled Subtract Integers Using Number Lines. So we're going to go ahead and do subtraction of integers using number lines, well, like we did in a previous activity where we are adding integers using number lines. And we're also going to be using a strategy that we learned before of that if we have some number x plus, actually take that back. Let's go ahead and go with that. X plus y, and we get is equal to x, change the sign, opposite of y equals, there we go, x minus negative y. Or we could go the other way, that x minus y is also equal to x plus negative y, right? So a little bit of refresher on that concept of being able to change the sign and take the opposite number. So that's going to come in helpful here. Not necessarily on these first problems, because you might say, well, this is easy enough. We start at 4. Yeah, start at 4. And the other one starts at 9, so we know that's not the right spot. So in subtraction, what do we start with? And then what are we taking away? Well, sure enough, there's 9 units from here. Here's 4 of them, from 4 to 0, and then another 5, and 5 plus 4 is 9. And so we did take away 9, and we end up at negative 5. So we see the solution using the number line is negative 5. Now later on, we're going to use the strategy that we see over here. But for now, let's go ahead and continue on. Start at negative 5. Well, this one starts at negative 2. That's not even the right spot to start from. So it must be this one. Oh, and we would click that. So sorry, I needed to put a check mark. That's the number line we want to use. And then if we subtract 2, we go back to, and we end up at negative 7. So negative 7 is the difference between negative 5 and 2. If we look at the next one, though, this is where it starts to get kind of tricky. Whenever we have this minus some negative number. Well, if we could change this to addition and then apply the same concept of that we used in the adding integers on the number line, then we could try that out with that. So let's give that a shot. So let's change this over from negative 4 minus negative 2. Let's look at this as negative 4, change the sign, plus the opposite of negative 2 is 2. So now it's addition. So we're looking to start at negative 4 and add 2. Well, here we're starting at negative 4, but we're subtracting 2, right? Because it's going back to the left. Think back to our rules that we used whenever we were adding integers, because that's what we're doing now. We just changed this statement here of subtraction to a statement of addition instead. So we're going to go back to that idea. So we're starting at negative 4. Add means go to the right. So we're going to move to the right. Here we have negative 4. We're moving to the right. We land at negative 2. So the difference, the sum of negative 4 and 2 is negative 2. Or we could say the difference, because here it's subtraction, the difference between negative 4 and negative 2 is, in this case, negative 2. Here we have another minus and negative, so let's change this. 5, change the sign, take the opposite of the number that follows. So we're looking to start at 5 and move to the right 10 places. So we're starting at 5. Yep, start at 5. They both start at 5. But moving 10 spaces, well, here's 5, 10. So this is going to be the correct one here. And we land at 15. On the next one, we have negative 18 minus 2. Let's change this over to addition. Negative 18. So change this subtraction to addition. The opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. So we're looking to start at negative 18 and go left 2 places, right? So looks like starting at negative 18. Well, we know this is going to be the correct one because this starts at negative, or this starts at positive 2. So it's not even starting at the right location on the number line, and it is plus a negative 2, which means we are going left, and we did go 2 spaces. Right, they're counting by 2s, so we land at negative 20. here we have 2 minus -4, so let's change this over. 2 plus, and the opposite of -4 is +4. So we're wanting to start at 2. We're adding, so we're going to the right 4 places. So they both start at 2. All right, so it could be either one. This is going from 2 to 8 looks like 6 spaces, right? And 2 to 6 is going to be 4 spaces. So to 4, we added 4, so this is the correct one, and it lands us at a +6. All right, so we're starting at 12. We're going to change this over from addition or subtraction to addition. The opposite of 21 is -21. So that means we're going to go to the left, right? Starting at 12. They both start at 12. They both go to the left. So we're going to have to see which one goes 21 spaces. Well, from 12 to 0 is 12 spaces. And from 0 to 6, -6, is 6 spaces. 12 plus 6 is indeed 18 spaces. So this must not be the correct one. Let's double check this one down here. So from 12 to 0 is 12 spaces. From 0 to 9, -9, is 9 spaces. And 12 plus 9 is indeed 21. So we did go 21 spaces to the left. So that was a -21. So the second one matches up here, and it lands us at -9. On to the next one. Fill in the blank time. So we're going to have to, let's write this as a plus. Let's take this model here and write this as addition, and then we're going to use the whole process to reverse the other way and change the addition problem over to a subtraction problem, because as you can see, they want it as a subtraction problem. All right, so if we're going to write it as addition first, we know we need to, where are we starting from? -28, -28, plus, and are we moving to the right or the left? We're moving to the right, so this is a positive number that's going to go here in this spot, and equals, and we know that where the arrow lands is the equal, that's -25. So let's go ahead and see how far did we move. Looks like they're counting by 1, so it's 1, 2, 3. We did go to the left, so it was +3. It's a +3. Now they want this as subtraction, so I have to change it over. I'm going to do just like I did before with changing subtraction to addition. I'm going to change addition to subtraction. Same process. Keep the first number the same, -28. Change the subtraction, change the addition to subtraction. Take the opposite of the following number. +3 is -3. And we know that if we change this, it's still the same answer. We end up at the same place. So the -25 is not going to change. So we have -28 minus, see the minus sign, then the -3, and equals -25. So on these problems here, where they want it as subtraction, write it as an addition problem like I did here, and then change it to a subtraction problem. I think we'll have some more of those. Indeed we do. Let's give it another try. So I'm going to write this as addition first, so -22, where I start from. I'm going to the left, so I'm adding a negative number, right? How many did I move? Well, it looks like they count by 2s, so 2, and equals, where did we land? -24. So, but this is addition, and they want subtraction, so let's change that over. Keep the first number, change the sign, take the opposite of the number that follows, so the opposite of -2 is +2, and it's still going to equal -24. So let's fill in all of our blanks, -22, and there's that. The subtraction sign is already there for us. We have a +2, and it equals -24. All right, I think we have another example here. Let's start at 5. Going to add to that. We're moving to the right, so it is going to be a positive number. It's going to equal where we land, which is 20. All right. And the next question is, how many did we move to the right? Well, it looks like they're counting by fives. So 5, 10, 15. So we move 15 spaces to the right. So that would be 15. They wanted a subtraction, so let's go ahead and do that. Keep the first number the same. Change addition to subtraction. Take the opposite of the number that follows. That's going to be negative 15. And it still equals 20. So let's fill in those blanks. 5 minus negative 15 equals 20. All right. I think this is indeed our last problem. So we're starting at negative 6. And we're adding. We're going to write it as an addition problem first, like we did in that activity before. And then we'll change it to subtraction. But I'm starting at negative 6. I'm going to the left, so that means I'm adding a negative number. So whatever number it is that we're adding, it's going to be negative. And we're landing at negative 14. So that's going to be the sum, the answer, you might say. And now we just need to determine how many are we going to the left. Looks like they're counting by, what, twos? All right, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8. So we went back 8 spaces. So it's going to be adding a negative 8. Now let's change it over to a subtraction problem. Negative 6, first number stays the same. Change addition to subtraction. The opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. And it still equals negative 14. Let's fill in our blanks. Negative 6. Minus sign is already there. Positive 8. And equals negative 14. All right. So the key thing is, especially on these ones up here, is to write it as an addition problem first, like we did in the previous activity, and then change it over to a subtraction problem using that change the sign, followed by the opposite of the number that follows the sign that you changed. That makes sense. All right. So those are all of my examples for IXL 7.C.8. Subtract integers using number lines. Good luck with your activity.